What's up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of my R&B review, and this might be a different episode. Um, I'm about to review today. Well, before I start, I want to say rest in peace to Chris Cornell. In case you guys don't know, he is the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audio Slave. Soundgarden being like one of my favorite grunge. Well, not really grunge. Like one of my favorite alternative groups of all time. I was on my laptop last night on Yahoo. They said he died. I was like, oh shit, not Chris Cornell. I was like, oh shit, not Chris Cornell and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, pray for his family and everything like that. Hope his family is doing good. Alright, but back to the topic. I'm about to review tonight or today is Marvin Gaye's um his 16th studio album in our lifetime, released in 1981 on Motown. Well, Tamla Records under Motown. Well, technically, this could be his 17th album if you want to be technical, because I'll get into that in a minute because this is gonna be a long review basically. Okay, so reason why it's gonna be a well, the singles are Ego Tripping Out, Praise, and Heavy Love Affair. Reason why it's going to be a very different review because this was not supposed to really come out. Originally, before this album, well, let's take it back. Let's take it back. All right. After Hear My Dear was like a commercial flop. It was a failure to people's eyes. The critics didn't really fuck with it like that. But then over the years, like after his death, that's when people were paying more attention to the album. So by 1979, like Marvin didn't really have like a hit, and he was he was just got over his divorce with Anna, and like I said before, I think I mentioned this in the Hear My Deal review I did years back. The same time he was having problems with his ex-wife, he was having problems with his current wife and shit like that. And so basically, Motown was like he needed to do another hit album because let's be real, like Hear My Deals alienated like a lot of his fans and critics. So since disco was at its peak at that time, they were like he needed to make like a disco style album. Hence Love Man. And just in case you guys don't know, in case you guys see that, um, hold on. This is supposed to be Love Man, the cover of Love Man. You can tell because it has a very like Marvin. It's like a very Marvin like dancing. Like it just is that perfect disco album artwork, you know. Okay, as I was saying, that was supposed to be the next album after Hear My Dear, and I'm gonna review that album. I'm gonna talk about that album and stuff like that before I actually talk about this album. So it might be this is gonna be like a double review, kind of, sort of. So yeah. All right. So Love Man, Love Man, Love Man, Love Man, Love Man. I was listening to Love Man, and you know, hmm, it's a very disco-ish album, and you can tell it was just a quick grab for the label to make money off. You know what I'm saying? But see, the reason why the album never really came out was because Marvin was getting in trouble with the IRS and shit like that, and he felt like he didn't really put his whole soul out in this album because he felt like it was forced. And so the fact that he was also his cocaine habit was good getting crazy around this time. He was about to be bankrupt and shit, and all these troubles it closed down his own recording studio and shit like that. So yeah. So now I'm gonna talk about Love Man. I'm gonna talk about some songs from Love Man and shit like that. So the first song off this off Love Man would have to be Ego Trippin'. Pretty dope song. This was a single. Um, pretty dope song. It's just talking about how it's talking. Oh, come on. It's talking about how celebrities like they have like these huge egos and shit. They have these huge egos and stuff like that, and basically they don't know how to carry themselves. And so basically Marvin's like he's making fun of all these celebrities or making basically a self mockery of himself, his image and lifestyle, saying, yeah, we maybe have all this money, maybe have these riches and shit like that, but at the same time we're hurting inside basically. And that's what I got from this song. And so it was supposed to be like the whole theme of basically the whole Love Man album. Next song off this album, Life's a Game, Life's a Game of Give and Take. Um, that song, self-explanatory. Um, it's talking about getting through life. Pretty dope song. Like the whole mid-tempo vibe to it. Next song, I offer you what life is now in session. Um, it's kind of self-explanatory. I usually just call that a continuation of the previous song, if you ask me. Then we have I Offer You Nothing But Love. This is the next song. Um, I could not really one of my favorites. Just Because You're So Pretty. Now this is probably next to Ego Trippin', my personal favorite song off of this album. Personal favorite song off this, the Love Man album and stuff like that. Pretty straight song. Then we have Dance and Be Happy. I could have done without that. It's like the most commercial song off the Love Man album. And last but not least, we actually then we have Funk Me, Funk Me, Funk Me, and I could have done without that. And then last is Lover's Plea, which Lover's Plea was actually another dope song. Um, another dope song right there. And so that's the basically Love Man. It's nothing really to talk about. I'm gonna save my opinions of these albums after I finish everything. So yeah. So basically, Love Man was put on hold. He was going through a lot of debts and IRS, and so he had to put Love Man on hold. And so he decided to rework the album because he felt like he wanted to still offer something new. Because he even felt like Love Man was half-assed himself and shit like that. And oh, I forgot to mention for Dance and Be Happy. Basically, he's basically that song is basically about Janice and stuff like that, and how he can't really trust her. He just wants just her just to be happy and stuff like that with the marriage. Just to paraphrase everything. So fast forward to 1980, they wanted his manager and his promoter, a promoter wanted him to go on tour, to get some money and stuff like that. So he went on tour in Europe, but see the tour ended after he failed to show up. He failed to show up on a couple of dates, And so that's like more problems on him and shit like that. And he decided to move to London and shit like that. And by the time he was in London, that's when he wanted to rework Love Man and make it into this album right here. Now, he reworked every song off Love Man, and it makes sure this to fit the album's theme, like a more religious theme, questioning ourselves and stuff like that. And so once he finished the album, from what I looked up, once he finished the album, he he didn't he wanted to add more synthesizer sounds towards it. And so one of his band members, um, he took the album's master tapes and he gave it to Motown without Marvin knowing about it. And that Loki, that was kind of fucked up. But that was fucked up. And so, because Motown was eager to get an album and shit like that, and next thing you know it, once Marvin heard about that they were issuing the albums in stores, he was like, "How are they gonna take my art and commercialize it?" And paraphrasing what he said, the album's kind of skipping a little bit, but it's all good. I might have to get a new record player in the future. And so it was with that, like they made it out like more funkier than it was, so they can appeal to the commercial crowd. And yeah, so once Marvin heard about this, he left Motown and he basically signed over to Columbia, which is another story for a different day. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, so this is the album. Okay, yeah, I know I got 15%. I gotta hurry up and lose fig. So this is the album right here. Very good album artwork. You can see the good conscience and the bad conscience. And originally it was supposed to call In Our Lifetime, add a question mark, but Motown like they took that away and everything like that. So yeah, then we have like a very popular picture of Marvin right here. Like if you guys know what I'm talking, you guys seen that picture plenty of times. Yeah. Okay. This album consists of 8 songs. This is actually the OG copy. This is actually the OG copy of In Our Lifetime. So yeah. Oh shit. So track number one, Praise, released. Track number one, Praise. Um, the good way to start off the album. Very good song right there. It's basically an ode to like the church, his upbringing in the church and stuff like that. The song was originally Lover's Plea, but like again he reworked it and Motown just put the synthesizer on it and shit like that. Yeah, very dope song. Like this, and also he gave a shout out to Stevie Wonder on the song too, and stuff like that. Cause and if you really listen to the song, it does like kind of remind you of something that Stevie would have done um during like possibly like the hotter than July era and shit like that. Dope song right there. A song I don't hear many people talking about. That's the end of that side, I believe. Yeah, that's the end of that side. That's right. All right. And so next song off his album is "Life Is for Learning." Another good song. This is one song that caused like a lot of the talk over because in this song he gets to the topic where he's breaking down the differences between songs that talks about love and songs that are meant to uplift people. And he's basically saying how the pain and lust that people are portraying in their music is mostly negative and hurting us more in a way. And that's what I got from the song. That's what I got from the song right there and shit like that. Life is for learning. Very dope song, underrated song right there. Um, yeah, all my Second to None fans, each of them fans, they should know about that song and shit like that. And also, from what I looked up, from what I looked up, not a lot of fans like this song because there's this one critic who goes by the name of David Ritz. He basically said, and I'm gonna read what he said. He said, "In life is for learning, Marvin saw himself as Jesus, suffering for the world's sins, though he didn't invoke the actual name of Christ." And he basically like saying that he's can't really let the difference know between his lustful. He's basically talking about how can you talk about all this stuff where in your previous song he's talking about lustful women and things of that nature and shit like that. And yeah, and that's why people are kind of having debating about the song. Then the next song, Love Party. Um, that song was originally Dancing Be Happy. Not really one of my favorite songs. Not really one of my favorite songs, basically. Still a dope song. I'm not gonna lie. Funk Me, Funk Me is the next one. That's a pretty dope song. Yeah, pretty up tempo-ish kind of song. Then we have Far Cry. Now this was one that was not really finished. He was not finished with this one and stuff like that. This is one of the many ones he wasn't finished with. And originally it was just supposed to be an instrumental with like Marvin talking and stuff like that. And yeah, basically, it's basically Far Cry is supposed to be like instrumental and stuff like that. And Marvin's supposed to like mouthing off the words while playing some of the instruments. So yeah, um, "Love Me Now" or "Love Me Later" is the next song, and it kind of takes you to like this cover right here. Well, "Love Me Now" and "Love Me Later" it's a conversation between two lords, the good Lord and the bad Lord, and stuff like that. And while the good Lord wants you to share equality, be equal, and all that, the evil Lord wants to control you, make you do all these things that you're not used to doing, and things of that nature. So that's a very complex song, and he really did make it work. And he reworked just because you're so pretty for this album right here. Then we have Heavy Love Affair. Dope, dope, dope song right there. A very nice song. It's just that's based off his marriage with Janice at that time, and you can really hear like the pain in his voice. Um, and then the last song off his album, "In Our Lifetime," maybe my favorite song off his album. And basically, the concept of this song, from what I looked up, it was talking about the way the song came out was um the original track. I mean, this song was basically about talking about the end of the world, and he was just like, "Get ready for the end of the world and how we take care of our whole lives and stuff like that." So yeah, "In Our Lifetime" right here. My opinion of this album, when it comes to Love Man, I can see why he did not want to release that album. I can really see that. 'Cause I was re-listening to Love Man a couple of days ago, and it was a good disco album, but he did not really put his whole soul on that. Like he was just trying to rush that whole album. While "In Our Lifetime," which in my opinion probably his most slept on album, one of his most slept on albums, was like a more complex, like lyrical wise, it was like more complex, more makes you think about religion, your life, and things of that nature. So very, very, very good album. You don't hear a lot of people talk. You don't hear a lot of people talking about this album because this was released right after. Well, usually this was released right after his so-called. Cause I would consider his golden era to be from what's going on to Hear My Dear, in my opinion. While some fans would consider I Want You to end of his golden era, but I feel like this album is very good. I mean, it's not as good as those previous four, but if you really listen to what he's saying, like he was really speaking like a lot of true shit in this whole album. And yeah, very dope album. I love this album. I'm so glad I caught this in stores. And yes, I would be doing a review on Midnight Love, but I want to get my hands on the album before I do a review on. Just a spoiler alert, I don't love that album as much as a lot of fans do, but stay tuned for that. And my final thing I want to say is like this album is a perfect example of the record label wanting you to do something you don't want to do, then using uneasy tactics to get what they want. That's my phone and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, other than that, that's all the time I have. Stay tuned for more stuff. Peace.